back here in Phoenix. Do you know the sights all around here?
No, a little bit. I know that's Camelback Mountain, but and I know that this is Phoenix, and that's about the extent of it.
And this would be the Wrigley Mansion right here,
Yes,
right?
I know that as well.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
I was reading about this this state last night. I didn't realize as large as this state is, only 15% of the land is privately owned. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
And also more than half of the people who live in Arizona live in Phoenix.
Live in Phoenix. But evidently the other 85% is parkland, natural parkland, Native American reservations and the like, because they have the largest Indian population in the United States.
I think if you drive through the state, you'll see that.
Yeah. We've got an awful lot to get to in our next half hour. The Rattlesnake Man, you're going to explain that. Matt's going to explain why he's got these boots on.
Yes,
and we're going to meet the youngest mayor in America. He lives here in Arizona. We'll get to it all right after your local news. Back now, 7:30 on this Tuesday morning, and you're looking at one of the show places of Phoenix. It's the Wrigley Mansion, Wrigley as in the chewing gum family. This was, as we've noted earlier, the smallest of the Wrigley's 5 homes around the world. This was their winter cottage. We'll show you around just a little bit later. And I understand that for his wife Ada also, Mr. Wrigley used to keep the same furnishings in basically the same spots because she was blind.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah,
I didn't
and she
know
had
that.
to find her way around, and so he had the same furnishings in each of the homes, deployed in the same position.
He sounds like a wonderful guy, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Very generous, too.
we should note, if we haven't already, that right now this has become a private club.
That's right, and you can have weddings or certain meetings here. I attended a wedding actually here last May, but it's now owned by Jordy Hormel.
Right.
So we've gone from chewing gum to
Meat.
Chewy meat.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
I understand Matt was looking at it a little bit earlier. It might go into media in just a little bit. You're shopping for it, correct?
Yeah, but it's,
Purchase
they're a little
prices.
above my market right now.
Gotcha. We're going to take a look around not only inside the home and just inside the mansion in just a little bit, but also around Arizona. One of the places we're going is a small town called Nogales. In Nogales, it is the home of the youngest mayor in America, as stated by the U.S. Conference of Mayors. We're going to meet him in just a little bit. Katie?
And Brian and Matt, if you didn't know it, Phoenix is the home of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and as many people know, that foundation has been embroiled in controversy of late ever since the Minnesota chapter allowed or granted a wish to a 17-year-old boy with cancer, although now his mother says he doesn't have cancer. Anyway, they granted him a wish to go to Alaska and shoot a Kodiak bear. He comes from a very avid hunting family, and we're going to get the reaction from someone from the board of Make-A-Wish to this controversy.
Ooh. Matt?
Also, we're going to meet 2 people who moved to Arizona from the Midwest several years ago, and they're fitting in pretty well because they have now become rattlesnake hunters.
Thank you.
What do they do with the rattles when they're done?
I don't know.
Make earrings or necklaces?
These people aren't bringing things to the set or anything.
No, they will not be around here.
Gotcha. And Al Roker is with us also. He's going to be taking us to the Botanical Gardens. But are we getting strafed this morning or what? Let's
like Madonna's wedding, you know?
Let's go on back to New York one more time. Here's Ann Curry.
All right, thanks a lot, Brian. Today, for the first time, divers will go into the crater dug in the Everglades by the crash of ValueJet Flight 592. Divers practiced Monday in the area, testing new protective suits. They will be looking specifically for the plane's voice recorder, which is buried somewhere in the muck of the swamp. Searchers have recovered only about 10% of the wreckage so far. On Monday, O.J. Simpson lashed out at the news media again, calling them racist, irresponsible, and inaccurate. Speaking at El Camino Community College in California, Simpson said he was a victim of the media. He took no question, saying the presence of reporters prevented a frank discussion. Gay rights supporters are praising the Supreme Court decision Monday, striking down Colorado's anti-gay rights amendment. The ruling is expected to affect similar anti-gay laws in several states. The House today is expected to repeal the 1993 gas tax. Republicans say it will save consumers money. Some Democrats point out there is no provision yet for replacing the lost revenue. Turning now to today's weather, strong thunderstorms will finally break the heat wave in the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic states later in the day. Heavy thunderstorms are likely to develop in parts of the southern plains. A new storm system will spread rain and mountain snow in the Pacific Northwest. That's a look at the national weather. Now here's what's looking at in your neighborhood.
Thank you very much. Oh, yeah. Well, you're seeing the Today Show's version of the Wrigley Mansion in Arizona. Well, here's another Wrigley Mansion. This is called the Inn on Mount Ada now. This was the Wrigley Mansion when they lived there. It is now a bed and breakfast over in Avalon. Look at some numbers. Downtown Los Angeles, 62, Oxnard, 58, and Torrance, 59 degrees. And around the state today, check this out. And while you're looking at this, best of luck to the ladies at Providence High School. Their softball team is in the second round of the CIF playoffs. Go get them.
7:34, time to go back to Phoenix.
Today's weather is brought to you by Cotton Incorporated. Cotton, the fabric of our lives.
All right, Ann, thanks very much. Arizona is a study in extremes, not just in its landscape, but in its people and politics, too. It is a place that rallies behind the likes of Republican elder statesmen such as Barry Goldwater and a young Democrat such as Louis Valdez. At 24, Mr. Valdez is the youngest mayor of any incorporated city in the country. Our Kelly O'Donnell has his story.
Hey, all right, woo!
Mayor Louis Valdez loves a good parade.
Hello, hello.
It is Cinco de Mayo in the border city of Nogales, Arizona. And the youngest mayor in America is having almost as much fun as he did on Election Day.
He's a political junkie. He's very passionate with his politics. It's in his blood.
Democratic Party Chair Yvonne Ragland.
He has a lot of energy. He works real hard.
How are you? Hello, ¿cómo está?
We're proud of him. I'm proud of him.
Valdez had barely graduated from high school when he won a seat on the school board.
Hi, Louis Valdez.
Soon after, he battled a much older businessman for the city's top office and won.
College student Louis Valdez is now the mayor of Nogales.
Quite a feat for a 24-year-old who still lives at home with his family.
How much is your age an issue in the work that you do?
It is the issue. It continues to be an issue today as mayor. It will continue to be an issue up until I get to age 30. Hopefully by then, they'll think I'm grown up enough to be an elected official.
In politics, controversy knows no age, and Louis Valdez has already had his share. From harsh headlines in the local paper to an embarrassing situation televised around the nation when MTV came here to Nogales to meet its 20-something mayor.
Valdez had taken his MTV friends to a bar close by in Mexico. Among them, a young woman named Allison.
Allison was doing shots, drinking. I noticed that she was snuggling up to the mayor a lot that night.
On MTV, Allison was seen the next morning returning the mayor's clothes to City Hall.
I think this is the biggest scandal Nogales has ever had.
Allison got a little bit more than the key to the city that night.
I don't believe that it's dignified to talk about anything, whether or not anything happened, about that young lady. Because I think as a young man, my mom and dad always taught me that you respect young ladies.
Not convinced of Valdez's honor, a priest chastised him at Mass the next Sunday.
Okay, the meeting of mayor and council shall come
It would be
to order.
just the start of the criticism. City Councilman Tony Serino is 3 times the mayor's age.
I believe he's become an embarrassment to the office he holds.
Serino and some of the other older members of the council have a running feud with their 24-year-old leader.
Okay, Mr. Lichter. Mr. Lichter.
He's a little kid that assumed a position that he was not ready for.
They accuse him of misusing about $300, dipping into his petty cash account and bouncing checks. Valdez says it's all an honest mistake, but the local paper pulls no punches.
We have the transcripts.
In any case,
we have
Mr. I'm not going to get into I'm not going to get into a debate with you, Mr. Kitching.
For Valdez, politics in Nogales, Arizona resembles the bullfights just across the border. It can be dangerous, even brutal.
I'm still standing. I'm still here. I'm very proud to be the youngest mayor in the country.
But people here are waiting to see if young Louis Valdez will survive. For today, Kelly O'Donnell, NBC News, Nogales, Arizona.
Up next, Phoenix's Make-A-Wish Foundation on the hot seat. Let's ready for this.
Welcome back to Phoenix, everyone. You know, this city is home to the National Make-A-Wish Foundation, one of the most popular and respected nonprofit organizations in the entire country. Since its inception in 1980, it has granted some 30,000 wishes to children with life-threatening illnesses, always without controversy. That is, until now. The problem started when a 17-year-old boy named Eric Ness, described as terminally ill with a brain tumor, was granted his wish to hunt a Kodiak bear. Since the boy's family are hunters, the regional chapter saw no problem granting the request. But Make-A-Wish has come under fire from animal rights activists as well as many of its own supporters. Meanwhile, the hunt continues in Alaska with no word yet on whether a bear has in fact been killed. Then late last week, the boy's mother made a surprise announcement. She said her son is now cancer-free, which only made matters worse for this organization. Doug Elmitz is on the national board of directors of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Doug, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Katie.
I should mention that I actually did a fundraiser for this organization in Washington on Saturday.
Great, thank you.
Let's talk about this. What is the status of this young man's trip? Is he still in Alaska? Has he come home?
He's in Alaska right now. Hopefully he is unaware of any of the controversy that's going on back here, and he's having the wish of his lifetime.
Let me ask you, this wish has resulted in a great deal of criticism by animal rights activists, but also by supporters, longtime supporters of your organization. Do you think this wish should have been granted?
Well, you know, America is essentially a mosaic of lifestyles, values, and attitudes, and what may be appropriate in Minnesota may not be appropriate in Los Angeles. What we need to do is we need to reflect that diversity. We're a grassroots, community-based organization. It's a bottom-up organization, and it is a perfectly legal act. Is it a wish that you would have accepted or asked for? Probably not. But this is something that Eric has done his entire life. It's part of American culture. It's been part of his history. And this is something he desperately wanted to do.
So you have no problem whatsoever with the wish?
That's correct. We stand by him, we stand by Eric, and we wanted him to be able to go and pursue his dream to go on a trip like that.
Some people, Doug, see a kind of perverse irony in the fact that a very sick young man would want to kill another creature. I'm sure you've heard that argument. What do you say to them?
Well, what has been lost in this debate, Katie, is essentially between the animal rights community and those that are sportsmen, and that is the 37,000 wishes that have been granted by 11,000 volunteers all across the United States who give their heart and soul to kids who have life-threatening illnesses.
There's no doubt that this is a great organization in many respects, but this particular act, what do you say to those people who say, somehow this doesn't seem right?
Well, I understand what you're saying, but again, you know, America is a mosaic of different lifestyles, and what is acceptable in Minnesota may not be acceptable in Los Angeles.
I know that you all are rethinking your policies, Doug. Are you going to have more national oversight for these regional chapters? Because I know the wishes are granted chapter by chapter, as you mentioned.
That's correct.
But should there be some kind of clearinghouse, some kind of approval mechanism in place?
Well, this started out as a grassroots organization, and part of the beauty of this organization is that our chapters can deal with children on a local level in their various area. We are going to review the policy. I can't prejudge how that's going to be. But clearly, because of this controversy, we are going to review it and make a determination at some point in the near future.
This young man's mother says he is cancer-free. What do you make of that?
Well, in fact, many of the wishes that we grant are for children who have life-threatening illnesses, not necessarily terminal. Eric's doctor signed a medical authorization saying that Eric did meet the requirements for wishes granted by Make-A-Wish, that his brain tumor was viewed as being life-threatening. The good news, Katie, is that many of our wish children go on to live happy, healthy, normal lives. What we're offering by these wishes is a respite away from medical procedures, hospitals, so that they can get away from this for just a short period of time.